playoffs and the finale, but we're getting right on into it and getting started with our last series. I have a DM. 1 minute, says Cav. Cool. So we will be joined by CavalierGuest here soon. I'm going to go ahead and update my stream title. Co-caster, CavalierGuest. Alrighty. Thank you for informing me of that, though, Cascon. I would not have expected that, but no, I forgot that there was a total tie right there. And it's crazy because Oxygen had the opportunity to tie with the members of Chili Mountain if everything had gone correctly. Hello, Cav. Hello, Dark Matter. Hello, CavalierGuest. Thank you for joining us here today for this cast.
Happy to be here. Sorry, I'm a little late.
It's all good. You didn't miss much of the action anyway. We're just getting started with the draft right now. Moving on into it. Inting for Ruby, just like we saw used against them yesterday, teams looking to take away that double support, main tank, Uther, hypercarry Vala that they have been shown to be very prone to picking. Not going to let them pick their comfort right here. Rage Quit Gaming blocking that out and locking in the first pick, Hanzo.
This is Battlefield of Eternity, so that's going to be the race hero for Rage Quit Gaming, and then we're going to see if they lean into that more, go more race, or if they diversify and have multiple options. Wow, that's a very early map. There is no chill in Indy for Ruby's draft. They want a team fight.
They want a 5-on fight. They want a team fight. I spoke about it with Dino yesterday while commentating Inting for Ruby, and he's like, yep, they're going to pick Uther and they're going to pick Maiev. These are the heroes they like to play, and it is no surprise to see them picked up yet again right here. Anduin and Maiev. Expect to see some light bombs delivered with those Shades of Vengeance, or at least thought about it. Meanwhile, Renella going to pick up the Rehgar. Nice little bit of alliteration right there. And Morena's going to be on the Hogger. Kev, what's the specific situation with Hogger on Battlefield of Eternity? How does that work?
I mean, so Hogger can do the side camps really, really quickly. The lanes are too wide for him to really do much in lane specifically. So that's not where he excels, but he has a lot of really strong engage potential in the jungle of BoE. He has okay race. There are infinite spins across the Immortal, which do a fair amount. Also, if you go Hortipult, most of the chokes can be completely blocked by R plus trait. And
yeah, I saw you do that the other day.
And that means the enemy team cannot disengage. So there's a lot. It's not an easy map for Hogger, but it's a good map if you're a good Hogger.
Okay. And for those of you who haven't seen this magic in person, I saw CavalierGuest the other day make a play where he made a wall out of Loot Horde and Hortipult, and then also this wall left a gap big enough for him to hog wild through, because Hogger has a shrunken hitbox during Hog Wild. So you're able to fit through a lot of spaces that you normally can't. It was very, very silly, and it was a nutty play to witness in person. Y'all are in for a treat if you ever see something like that. It's pretty good. Meanwhile, over here, BRB soaking on their Chen. That is, to my understanding, probably their favorite hero. It's, it's their Discord profile picture, so it's got to be, right? And they seem to talk about Chen a lot. What's up, Kev?
Apparently he's a Chen Samuro 2-trick. Those are his two favorite offlaners.
Okay, that would make some sense based on what we've seen so far. This is his second Chen game. He did play it in the Braxis draft that, Cav, I know you were watching yesterday. That was actually one of Inting for Ruby's victories, so very good for them in that last series, hoping that they can replicate some of that success here and bring some of that same fire into today's Sunday's matches. CavalierGuest, for anyone wondering, is the best Hogger in the world according to the spreadsheet.
I don't agree with that.
Thank you, Cascon, for this vital context about the situation. We're looking at the schedule for today here, folks, right in front of you. On the bottom half of the schedule, those are today's matches, Sunday, May 29th. We're going to have Inting for Ruby go off against Rage Quit Gaming. That's the game you're about to see right here, right now. After this is going to be Masters Clash Academy versus Three-Legged Cat. followed up by Granite Gaming going up against Bangbush, and then for our final series, Cav will of course have to leave us, as he is the coach of Oxygen Esports, who are going to be facing off against Chili Mountain. That's going to be the number 1 team and the number 3 team of the season facing off against each other to end the regular season and go into the Gauntlet. It's going to be really good stuff right there. I'm looking forward to it.
Wait, are we number 3 because of our losses versus Bangbush? We are.
You are indeed.
I mean, it doesn't really matter that much, but I didn't realize that. So, if we beat CM and Granite Gaming beats Bangbush, we can inch our way back into the number 2 slot.
That is indeed correct. It is a shame that number 2 versus number 3 is an ultimately entirely meaningless distinction in terms of playoff influence, because your first match in the playoffs is just playing against each other. Regardless, for the left side, for Inting, for Ruby, we have Fish777 on the Muradin, Mindhawk playing Mayev, what a surprise, Hat on the Zul'jin, Nox on the Anduin, and for more surprises, BRB Soaking is going to be playing that Chen. Cav, who do we have on the right side of the screen here for Rage Quit Gaming?
We have Renella on Rhaegar, Limu on Genji, No Game No Life on Hanzo, and Shizaki?
Shizak Kid? Like, it's an
Kid.
I. Yeah. And then Morenas
on Hogger.
And so what I have been informed is that No Game No Life right here is actually Lopaka, who is a player that I've seen in tournaments before. Starts with an H, like Lopaka, like that. Yeah. Which also, when I was looking through the Masters Clash wiki, I was surprised to see they are the sole Ukrainian player in this tournament right here. Oh, and we see some aggression onto Hat right out of the gate, already going in. Hat manages to survive, though, going to be able to walk right on out of there. Limu also similarly dropping very, very low, but able to escape. Wait, maybe I spoke too soon. Mindhawk going to get power slid by the ETC. Not going to go down just quite yet. Hold on, they're trying to finish off Shizakid. Shizakid's not scared, though. Everybody's dropping low, but Mindhawk is the only one to fall all the way down in that level 1 fight right there. And of course, getting the kill right next to the siege camp, it's a natural progression for Rage Quit Gaming to immediately transition over.
You know, if Inting for Rubies ever went on the same target, that target would die pretty consistently. But they're never on the same target.
I like how this isn't this doesn't seem to be a statement just about the fight we saw right in front of us. Given the use of the word ever. I'm noting that I'm seeing Shizakid use a block party right here, which is going to get some value up against this Zul'jin. Mindhawk going to get power slid and immediately bit by Renella to complete the second kill of the game for Rage Quit Gaming. Currently at a kill per minute pace to start things out at the moment, getting that aggression that they want, following up on those power slides aggressively. It's good stuff, and they still have this siege camp pushing away. Surely going to go and fall back to this bruiser camp soon, though.
I really hope they scale. Is this Q-Build Zul'jin?
This is, in fact, so far Q-Build Zul'jin. We do see it locked in the Bone Slicer at level 1. BRB Soaking is watching Morenas take this camp, maybe unaware of the presence of Limu, now immediately backing away, starting to run. BRB Soaking, staggering a bit of damage, going to be A-OK. Mindhawk already having finished the Bruiser camp. Is it Nisha's? It is. It feels like Nisha's memento every time. But Mindhawk having already finished the Bruiser camp, not capping it just quite yet. There it is from Fish.
So the problem with Chen even having to look at that point is Hogger has a knockback and Chen doesn't have anything. So it's actually impossible for Chen to do anything but lose that camp to Hogger, even if he fights at this point. So even with Limu there, it was wrong for Chen to step up and even look. He should have tried to get Prio in the lane, knowing Hogger was on the camp, and then maybe freeze the lane with the camp coming in. Like there were some options there after the fact, but I'm surprised to see him even step up and try, knowing no one on his team is rotating and knowing he can never win the camp in 1v1.
Certainly a bit of interesting decision-making right there. Anduin's Leap of Faith was forced out by the power slide. Both teams racing it out here a notable race lead for the members of Rage Quit Gaming at the moment. This will be the impetus for Inting for Ruby to step up to fight. Other than Hat, who on that Zul'jin is going to be the immortal race, I honestly question if this is what you want Zul'jin doing, rather than just looking for the full fight and getting Zul'jin some stacks at the same time. But Zul'jin is going to be racing it out. I guess with Bone Slicer at 1, his race DPS is actually fairly solid. At the moment, though, Inting for Ruby's immortal is still dropping faster than their oppositions. Fish getting chased down by Limu, dropping very low, will get finished off by a Lopaka auto attack. BRB Soaking gonna return the favor onto Genji. Oh, and there is a double kill for Inting for Ruby. Very nice. Hanzo going down as well, but ultimately, in spite of the double kill, still a first immortal in favor of Rage Quit Gaming. Now Inting for Ruby starting to back off here. I'm not really sure why Nox and Hat didn't full back and reset right here. They both could have used it, instead using healing fountains for some reason. I'm not sure why.
I mean, you have the pre-tap, right? But if you backed and then pre-tap, you'd also have the healing over time running while being at full resources. So if you're going to force the fight, that'd be really important. Really interesting to note that how, even though he saw all 5 people on the enemy team immortal, didn't turn his trade on to lose health and therefore race that faster. So that's, I mean, you got to take some risks when if you pick Zul'jin, you got to be willing to take risks with your health bar when in PvE, especially if you see the enemy team all somewhere. You just turn your trade on, lose some health, race faster.
Indeed, yes, Zul'jin. That's always part of why I'm personally not really a fan of playing him, because it's so scary, you know, like getting so low. My playstyle is trying to avoid taking damage, and then you're telling me I have to do it to myself? Oh, no thank you. Here we see Limu getting damage on Hat. Corin, thank you so much for that tier 3 sub. Looking forward to seeing you at LAN in August, as we see Genji getting taken out in the top lane right there. A well-executed fight by Inting for Ruby, and another double kill now pushes them ahead in the kill count for this game. Mindhawk finishing the siege camp here in topside, and Inting for Ruby now starting to filter down towards the bottom half of the map, looking to see if they can get the siege camp. Fish, a little bit of patience right here, not going to overstep on Morenas without teammates. Wait, maybe they are? Hold on. BRB Soaking jumping in on Morenas. Little bit of a fight breaking out right here. Mindhawk not able to find anything. There's a max range Stormbolt. It's just going to be a little bit of chip damage. Oh, wait, hold on. Wow, okay. Mindhawk, as they're attempting to retreat after stepping up and tossing a few fans of knives, instead just going to fall to that long-range damage of the Hanzo. Maiev not super tanky ever since she lost that 10 armor that she had for no reason back in the day. But what a good kill by the Hanzo.
You can't bring that up. She only had it on PTR. Vault of the Wardens was an 8-second cooldown.
Did she have the talent that gave her bonuses as long as she had armor while having baseline armor? Or
yes, she did.
That doesn't make any sense, though. Oh, there's a dragon arrow coming out from Lopaka. Does land onto the members of Inting for Ruby, and who are not level 10 at the moment, taking a fight at the worst possible time, or rather clumping, allowing Rage Quit Gaming to take a fight at the worst possible time. Now Fish trying to step up and interfere with this race damage, but hold on a second. Nox getting dived by the members of RQG. There's the power slide, and they just do not care about this fort whatsoever. Gonna take Nox down. Here's a shockwave. All 5 members of Rage Quit Gaming are here to kill Fish and finish off this fort. Very well done with the rotations, with the fort dive. Limu gonna reset his HP in the bottom left of your screen. Now BRB Soaking is the next person to get isolated, utilizing that keg, trying to isolate Lopaka. Lopaka will have the natural agility potentially available. Oh, but dies as they jump over the wall. Well done by the members of Inting Ruby, and at least picking up that kill, but they can't be happy about those deaths and losing that fort right there, going into objective number 2.
I mean, they just killed Rage Quit Gaming's race right before the objective. So, in a bizarre twist, I think Inting for Ruby's overall won that exchange.
Ooh, containment disc from Mindhawk. He was looking for it, not able to land it. Oh, hold on a second. That's a dragon arrow. Not gonna hit Hat. Sidestepped just at the last moment. Good stuff right there. Chastise not going to land from Nox. The arrows, I just love the arrow that misses towards the left side of the screen, because I always want to say, and it's off to NA every time. And I do say it a good half of the time anyway. Entering for Ruby now.
Oh, is that where all the missing NA arrows come from? Are they actually coming all the way from EU and it's just misattributed? I see.
Yeah, it's return to sender. You know, we got to send them back to Europe. We're like, oh, it came from that way, and I chuck it back to the east. And now, Inting for Ruby with about a 5,000 HP lead on the Immortals. Containment Disc does land onto Hanzo. Shockwave attempted to be used for Peel. Light Bomb from Fish onto his body is going to land onto Shizakid and set up the kill. Oh, BRB Soaking, though, getting run down by the members of Rage Quit Gaming, is going to need some assistance. Limu pulling out the Dragon Blade does receive the Ancestral Healing to lengthen the amount of time spent just slashing through the members of Inting for Ruby. Oh, double Storm Bolt by Fish, though, landing onto multiple members of Rage Quit Gaming. Limu now pressuring Nox in his backline. Nox trying to stay alive. Oh, no game, no life does finish off Zul'jin in the bottom right side of your screen. Fish, though, not quite done just yet as Rage Quit Gaming now picking up their 13 talents. Oh, dodges the Dragon Arrow yet again. That one's going, oh, I don't know, like North Pole from Europe? I don't know.
Canada?
What do you call the area immediately north of Canada?
Uninhabited Canada?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Like 90% of Canadians live within a few miles of the border, and then Canada technically owns all that other territory. It's just literally empty.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it is very cold. As we now see Inting for Ruby picking up their level 13 talents right here. And a fairly healthy Immortal. Rage Quit Gaming stepping forward. Ooh, maybe not the spin Morenas would have wanted. Starting to get isolated by the members of Inting for Ruby. Fish following over the wall, looking for the stun onto Morenas, but no, decides against it. Shizakid forced to slide away. And this Immortal the whole time still doing damage to these buildings. Mindhawk lands the tether onto ETC, and Renella's Purge, unfortunately timed, does not negate the pull from Maiev. BRB Soaking now seeking to isolate Morenas. Dragon Arrow lands onto Anduin and Muradin. Oh, Limu, the follow-up onto Nox off of the Dragon Arrow is instantaneous, and Nox will go down. Limu now trying to get on out of there, will be able to. Double Umbral Bind from Mindhawk, yanking multiple members of Rage Quit Gaming. Limu hearthing right on the scene, fully aware that no. Oh, here's a containment disc from Mindhawk yet again onto Hanzo. Limu canceling his hearth over there in the bush on the side, thinking about contributing, but he's so low he has to be conscious of the ability for him to just get popped in this fight. And here we go. Mindhawk will fall yet again to Hanzo for the maybe third time this game. And now we see Hat here on the Zul'jin using that Taz Dingo, trying to get some damage out. But Shizakid has respawned and is starting to run down the members of Inting for Ruby right here. There's a power slide. Oh, gets yanked out of the mosh pit. Well done by Inting for Ruby. Notably, this is mic check ETC, not encore. So that is a full 2-minute mosh pit cooldown.
I can't believe Hogger lived after spinning in like that, and I can't believe that ETC randomly died to a light bomb while trying to peel. And then everything else about that fight was also like completely they're actually chaos. Like, it's just the motivations of each team did not seem clear to me. Like, what is the plan in these fights?
That would seem to imply the presence of a plan, Cav, as we see Chastise landing onto Hogger. Morenas now hit by the heavy impact from Fish, starting to run away. That is indeed heavy impact. There is a Storm Bolt onto Shizakid. Umbral Bind for the follow-up. Well done right there by Mindhawk and team. Good stuff from the members of Inting for Ruby. And that pick is also supremely well timed to be happened before this first objective. Going to give Inting for Ruby a free stagger 5-on-4 right here, a free number advantage. But Rage Quit level 16 just around the corner. Inting for Ruby needs to find a pick to extend their lead right here.
Ooh. Oh. Please tell me someone else is going to be hitting the Rhaegar besides... Nope, okay, no one else.
Rhaegar is going to be sent back to safety. The triple Dragon Arrow lands from Lopaka, and despite getting that 5v4, not able to punish it so far, the members of Inting for Ruby, Limu for a second, actually did use the Dragon Blade in the fight, is no longer going to have it. Hat getting dived at the bottom of your screen, BRB Soaking in a duel with Morenas at the top, and here is Shizakid having freshly respawned. Inting for Ruby had a short window where they needed to utilize their 16 advantage, and they were not able to do so. Now BRB Soaking is the next target on Rage Quit Gaming's list. Backs off and they think, never mind, we're gonna let him go. We're just hitting this Immortal right here. Inting for Ruby loves to find a pick here if they can. No game, no life. Just, oh, a full scatter into Mindhawk and just barely staying out of Umbral. Wait a second. Wait a second. Oh! Takes BRB Soaking out with 55 HP, not a care in the world, feeling solid the whole time. Lapaka picks up the kill, and now Rage Quit Gaming, this is a free Immortal for them to hit. They know they have 5v4, they know they have 16. Inting for Ruby having to play on the back foot here and see what picks they can find, but it has not been going well for them.
No, not at all. 14 kills to 10. They can get 16. They can give halftime and get 16. So we'll have another opportunity to see a brawl. No one's soaking top right now, so to get back, it's going to be really hard for them. Okay, they do barely get 16. Top being that shoved in is actually a problem for Inting for Rubies. If they lose a fight, they are pretty much guaranteed to lose a keep. Even if the Immortal pushes the other lane, everyone from Rage Quit Gaming can go top, get that keep down, and then also rotate bottom. So I mean, this is one of the downsides of not having a ton of clear in your composition, right? It's just my Ev that has clear in this comp. No one else really has any 3-man Dragon Arrow coming up, and no one in range to follow up. Are we going to force? Or are we going to run?
Looks like Rage Quit Gaming looking to try and force the fight if they can. Power Slide just a bit too short to land onto BRB Soaking. Here's yet another Wandering Keg, looking to see if they can isolate a member of the side of Rage Quit Gaming. I will say, Kev, I still just feel like that Keg nerf from so long ago that increased its knockback distance just massively lowered the consistency of the ability. I feel like even the Chen mains that I see in the tournament plays just consistently fail to land valuable kegs. It certainly happens sometimes, but it feels like it happens to such less frequency than it did before. As we see Containment Disc, oh, Umbral bind onto 3 members of Rage Quit Gaming. Mindhawk able to get some Fan of Knives resets right here. The Dragon Blade is pulled out. Light Bomb connecting only onto ETC. Another full scatter onto Mindhawk as well, taking a lot of damage. Limu gonna finish them off in the back line. And Rage Quit Gaming getting a pick right there. 5v4 as they continue to pressure with this minion wave onto the keep.
Yeah, I don't know if they have enough damage right now without Mindhawk into this comp specifically. Without that Maev, and there's the keg that they've needed all game. First really solid one that actually secured a kill in the way that we expect to see keg secure kills. And keg is the better heroic, honestly, when it comes to competitive. It has a lower cooldown. It has a lot more playmaking potential. But you're right, it's not consistent, and that's one of the main reasons we don't see a lot of Chen.
Yeah, I feel like I wonder, Kev. Okay, you give Chen mediocre levels of wave clear. Like say you give Chen a Holy Fervor style band-aid to his wave clear. What do you think that does for his position in the meta?
I mean, it shifts him up a little bit because any hero that has infinite resources, because the way Drink works, you never have to back, right? You also have, honestly, his most OP talent is Withering Flame at level 4, which was not taken in this game. So you have something like Withering Flame in his kit, and then you also give him wave clear. He would be picked as an offlaner a little bit more often, and we might even start to see, if you slightly nerf the cooldown of Storm Earth and Fire, we might see Storm Earth and Fire taken.
Yeah, that's always a concern with these ults, is some of the older ults that haven't seen some love in a while in HotS just have these absurdly long cooldowns, at least relative to the current state of the game here. Where Locust Swarm, everybody knows I am the biggest proponent of full Beetle build with Locust Swarm on ladder. I think that build is insane for climbing. And I regularly say still that the cooldown on Locust Swarm, it's like 100 seconds. It's just forever. It feels terrible. But so far, honestly, not a massive advantage in the current game for Rage Quit Gaming. They're definitely slightly in the lead, but both teams still here roughly equal experience, roughly equal on race as well. BRB Soaking warding towards the bottom side of the fight right here. We're going to see, oh, there's a Containment Disc, lands onto ETC. Dragon Arrow just hits Zul'jin in the backline, followed up by Shockwave, and Anduin getting deleted to start the fight. Moshpit going out onto Zul'jin, and in the blink of an eye, IFR is missing 2 of their players. BRB Soaking also in a duel here on the bottom side of your screen. I was trying to get that, does die to the stagger Hogger damage after fighting Hanzo, and where did it all go wrong? All of a sudden, 4 members of Inting for Ruby going down. Fish now surely aware that Rage Quit Gaming no longer cares about this Immortal, and they're making a beeline for their base. Gonna hit the hearth right there, but I gotta say, it's gonna take a miracle for this to end in anything other than an imminent RQG victory.
Yeah, I don't really see how Fish can ever possibly hold this. Yeah, people got hoggered. You know, we got some aggressive spin-ins in the jungle. Multiple people got shockwaved, and that's the danger of letting Hogger through on Battlefield of Eternity, honestly. And they didn't really draft anything to punish that. And even in the case of Genji, like they don't really have any point-and-click CC. It was really rough for them overall.
Yeah, I just think that Hogger, to me, is a bit indicative of the power creep of Heroes of the Storm a bit. Whereas in the past, you had a character like Blaze who was really good at providing buffs and debuffs and utility throughout the fight. But Blaze didn't also do comical damage alongside it, and now he does with the addition of the collision course and with the addition of the baseline crossfire as well. Similarly, you have Hogger, who does all this crazy stuff, you know, ridiculously fast camp clear, wave clear, and in addition to that, debuffs entire teams in massive ways with the pummel at 13, which is such a team fight carry. I can only show you the talents and the stats for just a moment right here, folks, as we have a very fast setup for lobby number 2. If you'd like to see that, I'm going to have to cut away right here as we now get invited for game number 2. Let's take a look at what map we're going to be on. It's going to be, yet again, Inting for Ruby has chosen to take us to Braxis Holdout for game number 2. This is where they won a game yesterday after dropping their first game, surely hoping to recreate that success here in the second series of the week. First pick going to go over to Rage Quit Gaming.
So I feel like most teams don't practice this map a whole bunch, and therefore the team that practices it more ought to be better on it, so we'll see if that works out. This is also the map that during HGC had the single largest discrepancy between the win rate of first pick and second pick. And there were, the major reason for that is there were 5 meta strategies on Braxis Holdout, and a lot of the heroes worked in multiple strats, and you would pick one, you would ban the ones the enemy team needed to counter it. If they went different heroes that were worse but did the same thing, they would pivot to a different strategy, and then you would lose. That was just, it was a very complicated map to draft on at that level of play. And it's a little different now because teams don't practice the map, and a result of teams not practicing the map very often, it should be possible to consistently win from second pick.
It would be interesting to see. I was worried for a second. I was just looking, and they sent me as referee in the settings, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I am merely a spectator here as we look through. I'm excited to see what exactly it's going to shape out to be. We did see before BRB Soaking played Chen yesterday on the Braxis Holdout. No surprises there. And one thing that was so crucial, I felt, about Chen's performance and contribution yesterday was the critical level 13 enough to share. Chen utilized the shield given to himself and his teammates to tank the structures consistently, allowing for the Zerg wave to drastically overperform its expected level of siege, leading to just such strong push pressure. Very tough to defend against. I can't help but think that there is at least a strong inclination by Inting for Ruby to bring back an entirely similar strategy to what they did here yesterday. Of course, the Uther and Vala bans still going to be the exact same from game number 1 as Limu locks the first pick Genji. So one thing you gotta know about Genji on Braxis Holdout in particular is that he is probably the highest boss DPS in the game. For this particular boss, I don't think any other hero clears it faster. And a lot of this is due to the fact that Genji, with Deflect, he sends out damage every time he would take damage. And the Braxis Holdout boss in particular deals damage extremely quickly. So it shreds itself, and you pair this with perfect defense at level 7, which gives you cooldown reduction on your deflect whenever you deflect something, and you can make short work of the boss in exceptionally fast speeds with Genji.
Yeah, so the boss is a special ability that triggers every 8 seconds, I believe, that does a lot more damage. And in fact, if you're really good at Genji, you can actually solo the boss from level 7 onwards. You have to aggro it, kite backwards until its special ability activates, deflect, E through the boss, D away, but not so far that it leashes, and then kite it a little bit in a circle. And then as your deflect comes back up, its special ability comes back up, you go back, you do that, the boss is dead.
That is wild. And you know me, I love soloing bosses as a DPS player. I do it pretty frequently as Tracer. But as I was speaking about in a discussion about this the other day in one of the HotS discords, I feel like you only, realistically, the vast majority of your chances to solo bosses in HotS come on Towers of Doom. Towers of Doom, it's really easy to sneak into the boss pit completely unseen, whereas in Braxis Holdout and Sky Temple, enemy teams, it's much more easy for them to spot you out because it's in a very neutral location right between the two lanes, between the two sides of the map. So Tomb of the Spider Queen, it's entirely isolated in its own pit. You have to go check the pit to find it. And then you're like, well, the same thing happens on Warhead. Sure, but Warhead is significantly more mechanically challenging because you have a smaller space. You have to worry about how hard the boss hits. It shoots out all the little goons everywhere, all the little pew, 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 pew. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not sure the word I would use. How would you describe those things the Warhead boss shoots out, Cav?
They're banelings.
They're banelings?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a StarCraft map, right? It's supposed to be a
But banelings roll.
You know, they used to. He'll still used to leave a slime trail behind him, but we don't get that anymore. We're not worth it. Also, we've actually seen Dyna use Tracer to solo Alterac bosses in competitive.
Yep. Alterac is another map where it can happen. It is a fairly easy one because one of the tricks that makes it a lot more consistent to solo boss and make sure you don't take any damage is if you aggro bosses very near to a wall, they get stuck on walls extremely commonly. So Alterac is a map where the boss will frequently just stand still doing nothing if you can kite it close enough to the walls, if you know how to do that as Tracer, and that gives you the advantage in mobility over the boss to be able to solo it very easily, even without jumper. So that's something that you can basically start doing from about level 7. I think your DPS is just so low that it's not really warranted. I'm not even sure how the timeline matches up. 7, like level 7 versus 5 minutes in the game. I think you have it by then, right? Because
Yeah,
you get 10 at like 7 minutes in, like 7-8 minutes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, we do see this Braxis holdout game about to get started. This is the final game of the regular season for both teams right here. After this week will be the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is, of course, a progressively advancing playoff format. The lowest rated teams face off against each other, the next highest rated team faces against the winner, and so forth until one victor remains that joins the playoffs. For Inting for Ruby on the left side of the screen, we're going to have Fish777 on the Deckard, BRB soaking on Dahaka, Nox playing Anduin again, Hat on that Gul'dan, and Mindhawk on Maiev as Inting for Ruby lane swaps entirely top lane. Cav, who do we have right side for Rage Quit Gaming?
We have Shizak on Muradin, Limu again on that Genji, Renella on Stukov. I can't remember how to pronounce the Morenas on Hogger, and No Game No Life on Junkrat.
Alrighty, and there we see the Lurking Arm follow-up onto BRB soaking from Renella, who takes a lot of damage and is going to get Umbral bound right into the middle. All but Hat missing both Fell Flames to finish off Renella. Unfortunate, not able to find the kill, not able to find first blood. What a bummer. And now Shizak stepping over here towards the regen globe generator will get Umbral bind yanked right on out of that dwarf toss. Limu now with the agile dismount jumping right into Fish, and of course this is yet another double support Inting for Ruby draft as now Rage Quit Gaming starts this move over.
This time. Sorry, yesterday in a very similar draft it was E-build from Gul'dan, and this time it's Q-build, and I like the Q-build a lot more in double support. They're definitely playing for sustained fights, not for burst kills, so it's actually a very nice change up to see.
And I also tend to think of Corruption Gul'dan as being very late game focused. To me, the primary boost of getting that triple hit E, getting the extra 3 bounces, is the much higher consistency on being able to pop the level 16 E talent. I also think that Darkness Within is just an absolutely crazy hyper carry talent for Gul'dan, as we see Deckard just getting absolutely melted underneath the follow-up pressure from Ranella, and Rage Quit Gaming just absolutely smacking them. Mindhawk gonna get Leap of Faith right on out of there. We'll be fine. And this is actually a Junkrat Lopaka lane swap into the Dahaka right here. Gonna just bully him out. BRB soaking forced to Hearth away, and Rage Quit Gaming is pulling ahead to a very early lead on this Zerg wave. Over 50% on both waves at the moment, with no sign of that ending anytime soon. Here's BRB soaking, brush stalkering into bot, walks directly into the concussion mine, and Inting for Ruby doesn't look like they're even gonna have any chance of stopping a near on cooldown Zerg wave right from the start of the game.
So this is a dynamic that most people don't appreciate, which is that ranged heroes beat melee heroes in lane. There's actually no way for a melee hero to interact with a ranged hero unless the ranged hero makes a mistake. So Dahaka versus Junkrat is a matchup that just gets stomped. And in fact, ranged offlaners were meta for years in Heroes of the Storm. And the only way to really solve the solution is to gank them. But if you have a death ball sort of composition like this with double support, if one person leaves, everyone should go, and then it's kind of obvious you're getting ganked and you just back up. So
yeah, the ability to just punish a side lane as a ranged character is something that I've been abusing lately with Sergeant Hammer, just copying Oxygen and copying Nick specifically. I had a Greffer recently, a friend of mine, go over and talk to me about how the builds work and what to do in the side lanes. And it is absolutely filthy what you can just do and punish, especially because in Storm League, nobody rotates to help the offlaner. So you're just free hitting his buildings as Sergeant Hammer, and everyone just stays in the 4-man. And if they leave, it's super obvious if you have a mini-map. The character's kind of insane right now for climbing, as we see Limu with a quick double dash to finish off Dahaka in that top lane. Really solid bullying from the members of Rage Quit Gaming so far, who have just capped their bruiser camp now. And Inting for Ruby is going to just completely miss top soak for at least a little while until Dahaka is able to get back up and into lane. Hat starting to walk away from Muradin. Notably, Hat only 2 Fell Flames away from completing that level 1 quest, which greatly increases your ability to get more hits and trade more aggressively, as the Gul'dan gonna finish that Fell Flame quest right there.
That's nice. That gives him increased range, which gives him a lot of increased safety. It's also like making him more likely to hit additional targets, and it also slightly increases the width of the Fell Flame. And boop. Oh, really nice pull from Nox.
I feel that Hat is overstepping a bit right here. When I've got that Q quest complete as Gul'dan, I'm using that extra range, you know? I'm trying to hit people with the edge of it, but I feel that he's stepping up so that it's like a solid 3 range of redundancy past the Q for some of these hits, leading to that near-death experience for the Gul'dan. Gonna back off right there. Still both teams just absolutely duking it out 4-on-4. Mindhawk with the triple Umbral Bind yanks Ranella right into the scroll of ceiling, but Hat with the drain life, forcing them to stand still, is going to get concussion mined in immediate response, making this a 1-for-1 between these two teams. Now, Fish getting some damage onto Limu, trying to finish him off, but Limu gonna hop over that wall, does not want anything to do with the situation. Concussion mine actually causes Shizakid to get yanked by Mindhawk, but still 1-for-1 between these two teams.
Cascade and I once theorized Deckard double support, and I think you have to really change up his talents, because Deckard is a very mana-hungry support, actually. We actually decided that we would go Rejuve at 4, which is not a talent you see too often, but basically it also restores mana, and it makes potion free if Deckard is the one who picks up the potion, which is perfect for tank Deckard because he's abusing the fact that he has armor. We don't see that here. That is Potion of Shielding, which is sort of the meta build.
Potion of Shielding is locked in by Deckard, and that would certainly be an interesting approach. And also, what I love about potioning yourself as Deckard is it's basically an instant cast heal. and you just instantly get the healing right away, and it can't miss. You just have to self-cast Alt Q. Nox gonna get isolated by the members of Rage Quit Gaming, is able to sidestep the Stormbolt from Muradin. Nox trying to escape on out of here, but stands in the middle of 2 dynamites from Hogger, which will finish him off. Fish is next to get chased down. The Pustule does land onto them, setting up the slow for the kill. Mindhawk gets over the wall, followed by Limu, not able to finish him off, however. Rage Quit Gaming, though, about to have a full Zerg wave yet again, 100% to 0. 7 minutes into the game, not even, plus level 10 advantage. This is not going the way Inting for Ruby would have wanted. Concussion Mine now pushing BRB Soaking into the middle of multiple members of Rage Quit Gaming. Riptire not going to be popped too early, going to try and use it to push BRB Soaking towards teammates here, but he will certainly go down. Limu picking up yet another kill, and 7 minutes into the game, 7 kills for Rage Quit Gaming.
And they're not level 10. They're going to be a while from level 10, actually. And a lot of it comes down to that early bullying we saw where they couldn't swap the Gul'dan to deal with the Junkrat because Gul'dan being their only ranged in the 4-man significantly constrains where they're allowed to go. I do think they should be able to save every single keep here. But bottom needs to be soaked. They need all the experience they can possibly get at this stage. And I don't know why Mindhawk is this far out, but as I say that, Hogger spins in and dies to an Umbral Bind, so I guess that was the play.
Alrighty. Hey man, if it works, it works. Limu gonna jump in and dash right on out shortly after. Level 10s now have been achieved for the members of Inting for Ruby, and this time, hold on a second, there's a tongue onto Renella. Stay a while and listen is utilized entirely for the zoning. Mindhawk yanks them into it and says, go to sleep. And now that is a good, well-timed pickup for the members of Inting for Ruby, who immediately, without a second thought, transition into starting this boss. Rage Quit Gaming, fully aware of what's happening, going to look for the play. Keep in mind you're against a Junkrat right here. Not only a Junkrat, but a concussion mine built Junkrat. Lots of boss control available, and now Inting for Ruby starting to back out. Deckard notably very, very in the meantime. This is still a 5v4 in their favor, though, as Stukov heading back from base. The Horrify is huge, sending Genji into tower range, but Hat misses another Fell Flame for the kill right there. I don't know if it would have 100% finished off Genji, but it certainly would have been close. You hate to see it, and now Renella has rejoined the members of Rage Quit Gaming. It is no longer a 5v4 in favor of Inting for Ruby.
Yeah, Inting for Ruby got an insane kill that basically brought them back into the game, and then they didn't get anything out of it because they didn't manage to secure the boss, they didn't manage to secure an enemy camp. Nothing like that. Limu is going to be able to get out of here. He will get a heal from Renella. It's really hard to kill a Genji if you don't get him off the initial burst, because he will, of course, have the mobility to get out. He probably even still has D up. And Mindhawk, okay, gets pulled, D's to deny any potential follow-up damage, and they can sustain up a little bit, but Inting for Ruby is just taking so much damage. I know they have double healer, but just because you have double healer doesn't mean you can afford to take all the damage in the world. You need to use that that sustain to deal additional damage. They're not quite doing that.
Shizakid, jumps in place after tanking Fort for a little bit right there. An interesting decision, and Stormbolt lands onto Mindhawk coming right out of that Shade of Vengeance. Now Hogger rotating to join the fight and make this a 4-on-4 between these two teams. Genji now also starting to rotate. Here's a Riptire advancing forth towards the members of Inting for Ruby. Will explode onto Fish and Hat. Genji now on the scene in the bush, lurking, seeing if they can get anything. Rage Quit Gaming does have the 5v4. Here's Dahaka, digs straight into the Junkrat trap. It didn't have a silence, though, because Junkrat is built for concussion mine. Stay a while and listen catches the sleeping Genji just at the edge of its range, followed up by an isolation from BRB Soaking, but there is no other follow-up to that isolation. So, level 13 advantage achieved for the members of Rage Quit Gaming. Not going to lead to anything just quite yet, and Inting for Ruby now backing off, knowing they're at the disadvantage.
Inting for Ruby just seems out of sync, is honestly what it seems like. Like they'll use an ability and then nothing follows it up until like a second after the ability has expired. So I don't know if they're greeting for more CC, like duration total, or if they're just missing the layering. It's really important when you have layers of CC like this to combo them all together. Ooh, okay. Hogger messed up the spin. They're not in trouble. That could have been a potentially very good spin if he'd gone off the far wall and pummeled through the entire team, but it didn't work out.
Ooh, here we see Limu now going up onto BRB Soaking, who misses the tongue and now runs to the right, virtually guaranteeing their own death. But I think as soon as the Genji hopped the wall, it was over. BRB Soaking now goes down. Meanwhile, Inting for Ruby. I'm not sure why Rage Quit Gaming decided to fight 4v3 while ganking top with 2. A very questionable decision being made right there. Fish now getting aggressed on by the members of Rage Quit Gaming. Chastise does find Limu. The members of Inting for Ruby starting to run away. Oh, the virulent reaction, setting up the kill from Ronella, doing their best Shad impression right there. Mindhawk, oh, starting to jump away with the Shade of Vengeance, will hop back into the base. Nox is next to fall. 2 members of Inting Ruby falling. Wait a minute, and Mindhawk knocked out of the base by the Concussion Mine, though not going to go down. BRB Soaking, the Junkrat Concussion Mine build, just getting so much value this game. There's another one, but it didn't quite have the same push factor onto BRB Soaking, but rather the slow almost setting up the kill right there. The level of disruption that Lopaka is getting from these concussion mines is absolutely ridiculous. And now the members, oh, there's Mindhawk. Oh, Mindhawk with the tether on to Hogger, sets up the Tahaka Tongue perfectly. Concussion mine, everybody's getting a little bit of a ride through the air. Now Inting for Ruby looking to push this 5-on-4.
I wonder if they can actually get more. Oh, Muradin walking in, he's in the midline. Whenever a Muradin does this, you know they're considering re-engaging, seeing if they can find something. That's extremely greedy. You do have the jump out in this situation, but even looking in a 5v4 scenario, or 4v5 scenario, I guess, is extremely greedy for Rage Quit Gaming.
I mean, Rage Quit, part of the reason why they even started to stumble was the fact that as they got that 2-on-1 engaged top lane, they all of a sudden fought a 3v4 on the bot side, as isolation does land from BRB Soaking, likely going to set up a Genji kill. Fish waiting on the other side of the wall for Limu, but not able to find that scroll of sealing. Unfortunately, right there, knew what was going to happen, not able to capitalize on it regardless. Both teams have all 5 members present, but Rage Quit Gaming would love to wait just a moment and get their 16s before hard committing to anything as they start to advance forward now, knowing 16s are being achieved right now. Mindhawk Shade of Vengeancing away, not able to find the Umbral Bind. BRB Soaking Concussion Mind deeper into the pit, but it is Fish who will fall. Limu getting the reset ability to dash forward right here with that Dragon Blade, finishes off Mindhawk. Virulent reaction onto Hat yet again will take them out. Nox will fall. Now it is only BRB Soaking alive for Inting for Ruby. Another 4-man team wipe late in the game from Rage Quit, which will surely lead to an imminent core push.
I mean, I would certainly hope so. It does take about 25 seconds to kill a keep plus core. Deckard will be up in 13 seconds, but Maev and Gul'dan actually won't be alive quite in time. So this is worth going for. Is Shingen? It is Shingen 13, so they do have actually a surprising amount of siege damage. Everything needs to be focused on the Genji. Whenever you have these all-in core attempts, you need to identify which heroes do the most damage to core on the enemy team, and everyone needs to go on that hero. So Genji all the time,
does
every day.
fall. 2 members of Rage Quit Gaming have dropped, and I honestly think they had it, but the little bit of inefficiency so far. Hogger gets finished off by Mindhawk. Stukov is next to fall, and now Lopaka is the only living member of Rage Quit Gaming to make it out of this attempted core push, not able to finish it off. And Kev, I gotta say, I noticed Rage Quit, they're finishing off the keep, and everybody's just kind of standing around, and then there's a few seconds of waiting, and then it's, oh, okay, let's go on core.
Yeah,
and I can't...
it's a comms thing, right? People talk about get the keep, and the keep dies, and they're like, can we end? And that's not when you have that conversation. You have that conversation when you're killing the keep. Like, are we going to go straight to core afterwards? And if so, how do we want to do it? Okay, well, we want to spread out. We want our tanky people on the far left side where the enemy team's going to be spawning. We want our core DPS on the right side as far away as possible. You know, you have to talk about that.
Oh, so much CC coming out onto Muradin, using nearly everything except the isolation and the stay a while. I'm not sure if either of those were up at the exact moment, but what a well-timed pick onto Muradin. And you're exactly right, Cav. I love that you mentioned talking about while you're still on the keep, talking about the core push. And this is a concept that I was explaining to someone I was coaching the other day as BRB Soaking lands the tongue onto Limu in the top lane, will get rotated on by No Game No Life, however. But Cav, I was explaining to a player that I was coaching the other day, I said that if you shot call the next thing to do, rather than shot call what to do now, say, okay, after we do this, we're going to go to boss. After we do boss, we're going to push this lane. If you shot call like that, what you're effectively doing is shift queuing your shot calls at a team level. You know how you can shift queue your inputs to make them happen instantly whenever one thing finishes? It's utilizing the same principle at a team level, and I think that that can really make everyone move really fluidly from one call to another. BRB Soaking missing the tongue onto No Game No Life does land the isolation, but getting aggressed on and will go down. Mindhawk tried to get in there and save them. Lopaka jumping all the way up, but right into the hands of Fish, smacks them with the Herodric Staff. Certainly not what they might have expected. Hogger still all the way in the bot lane as a stay a while and listen puts a few members of Rage Quit Gaming to sleep. Renella very, very low in the back, but Morenas now here hits the double shockwave, leading into the immediate kill onto the Anduin. Mindhawk now 1v1ing against Shizakid on the side of the fight. Limu dropping very low in the pit. Mindhawk, gonna get knocked into the wall by Morenas. Will fall. Inting for Ruby was getting back into it for a moment, but now all of a sudden Rage Quit Gaming wins the fight right then and there, starting with the pick onto BRB Soaking, and they are going to pick up at least a lot of charge on another objective.
I'll be curious to see if anyone on Inting Ruby decides to step up here, because they knew everyone was low. They have 2 kills. There's a chance that they can play Ring Around the Rosie with the points if they go, but they're not. They're just going to sit in the bush. They're going to be conservative. I mean, they have a keep, right? So there is a chance. And I wouldn't even finish capping this. I would get to halfway and stop. Oh god, they're going to use the Hakadig. They're okay. Oh, it's stressful.
Inting for Ruby is fighting this at the moment 3-on-4. Anduin still heading back from base. Stay a while and listen, forced to be used. Concussion Mine does land onto the ground, but not onto Hat, not looking for the push away. Leap of Faith yanking Fish back to safety as the shockwave does land. It's gonna set up the Riptire, finishing off Deckard right then and there. BRB Soaking meanwhile getting chased down by Shizakid. Mindhawk in the middle of multiple members of Rage Quit Gaming. Second charge of Leap of Faith is used. Nox's Light Bomb landing, and it actually is Junkrat going down. Mindhawk able to find the kill in the 1v3 situation on the opposite side of the fight. Now, Shizakid, though, going to find Mindhawk right here, and with the 100% Zerg wave, with the level 20 advantage, with the 4-on-2, easily going to be a Rage Quit victory here in this moment, finishing off the sweep of the series.
No Control uses a chase tool there, not so much as a damage tool, but just allowed him to gap close the Maiev off of her E, which is huge to have happen. Oh my god, Genji died again. Wait, no, there's no way. There's no way.
No, this has to be a core finish. Like, look at that wave. There's no way they can defend this, even if they were to kill everybody. Alrighty. Rage Quit Gaming taking the 2-0 in their final series of the regular season before the Gauntlet, aka the start of the playoffs, is going to happen next week. Well played in those team fights right there. Unfortunate for Inting for Ruby, despite pulling out the Braxis tech, not able to find the victory. Let's take a look at that post-game scoreboard right here.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, this is a very similar situation to what happened yesterday, but the enemy team just played around it better. Yesterday, we didn't see that lane swap. Today, we saw the lane swap. Maybe the lane swap happened as a result of Inting for Rubies all going top at the start, but maybe Rage Quit Gaming actually knows you're supposed to put your ranged against the, or one of your ranged against the melee offlaner when you have these kinds of drafts where they don't have that flexibility. Because this is something we would see constantly in HGC. Is we would see a ranged in a 1v4 while the other one pushed, and it was just better to have one of your ranged in against melee heroes if possible. So much better adaptation from Rage Quit Gaming.
Good adaptation from Rage Quit indeed. It just felt like BRB Soaking just kind of in a rough situation the whole game. Certainly a consistent target by the members of RQG with their pressure right there. No lobby getting started just quite yet. I'm looking through at our different options. And looking at this, I'm a little bit interested in this Hero Stalker pick by Dahaka. I understand Hero Stalker if you are trying to go for a W-focused build, if your priority is simply just staying alive for extended periods of time on top of the enemy backline. Hero Stalker makes a lot of sense to me. Otherwise, I think Lurker Strain is just so insanely good. It's survivability, it's escape, it's set up for your own skill shots. Do you disagree? Do you agree with this decision? What's going on here, Kev, with this Hero Stalker?
I don't agree. Um, if it were full W build, so he had the spell armor at 1, and he could just live in the middle of the enemy team, which honestly with double support would have been a really viable thing to do. It also W1 is the only one that increases only level 1 that increases your wave clear, which helps a lot, and it would have helped him a lot when he was getting bullied by the Junkrat, because if you have W running, you can just eat the Qs, so you step up, W the wave, and then back up, and you're fine. And then Hero Stalker would have, but like taking Hero Stalker with none of the talents to support the I'm going to live in the middle of the enemy team's playstyle doesn't make any sense to me. Even as 13, right? Like that's a wave clear talent that you take that to wave clear waves faster. If you're thinking about, oh, we're going to be team fighting, the armor shred at 13 is literally always better. If you have an armor shred talent and not just you, but someone else in your team is hitting a target, armor shred is just always better. So if he was W1, W7, W13, the armor shred at 13, he would have had basically permanent armor reduction, assuming everyone was focusing on the same target, and that would have been far more damage. So.
Indeed. Alrighty, we do have second lobby up. Dahaka builds are certainly an interesting one. And now I've got another invite into next lobby right here. Let's